She's scrolling through her phone right now, probably laughing at something trivial, while a tiny voice in her mind whispers the memory of you. That's right. The man she let slip away is alive in her thoughts, even when she pretends he isn't. And the truth is, she doesn't even know why it stings. You see, women feel the absence of a man differently than men. When you're gone, when you stop chasing, when you finally stop being available on demand, she's confronted with a silent question she can't answer. What did I lose? Let's be honest, most men never realize the subtle, almost invisible power of withdrawal. They confuse attention with affection, texts with love, emojis with connection. But here's the truth. She didn't need your texts. She needed your presence, your energy, your essence. That spark she once chased wasn't in the words you sent. It was in the way she felt when she couldn't predict you, when she couldn't tame you. And now, with your absence, the space you created is screaming in her subconscious. Imagine this. She opens her phone, sees the last text you sent, or remembers a moment you laughed, a detail she once brushed off as nothing. That little memory ignites regret. Not the shallow kind, not the I wish I had said something, but the deep, gnawing realization that she let someone irreplaceable slip through her fingers. And this is where most men fail. They keep sending the breadcrumbs, the safety net, the constant reassurance. But the man who makes her regret losing him doesn't fall into the trap of over-communication. He disappears from expectation, but never from thought. You want her to feel that twinge of loss, that brief, unsettling pause in her confidence, not through manipulation, not through games, but by embodying the truth of your value. She doesn't need empty promises. She needs the undeniable experience of your absence creating a void she can't fill. Every man who texts, calls, and chases constantly teaches a woman that she has all the control. That's a lesson you cannot afford to teach. Stop being a placeholder. Stop being predictable. Stop allowing her to calculate your availability like a formula she can solve. And here's where the psychology gets brutal but fascinating. Regret is a powerful, primal response. Women, by nature, evaluate men not just by desire, but by potential loss. The moment she senses she could lose you permanently, her mind runs scenarios, comparisons, and what-ifs. She imagines the nights you could spend with someone else, the stories she won't be part of, the laughter that will never include her. Her ego fights it first, of course. She rationalizes, I'm fine, I don't need him, but underneath, her instincts are screaming. Your absence is a mirror showing what she really cannot have. Now, let's address the most dangerous mistake, being desperate to fill her regret. Men often misinterpret her signals, believing that jealousy or distance is a chance to chase harder. Wrong. The man who creates true regret doesn't chase, doesn't plead, doesn't clarify. He embodies life without her as fully as he ever did with her. He thrives, he rises, he becomes the version of himself that makes her question every decision that led her away from him. The magnetic pull isn't in your words, it's in your transformation. She feels it before she understands it. Every interaction you've had, every laugh, every moment of connection becomes a silent scorecard in her mind. And here's the harsh truth most men can't stomach. She will never consciously admit it. Regret isn't about confession, it's about awareness. Your absence triggers it. Your indifference, carefully balanced with self-respect, ignites it. She begins to replay moments, asking herself why she let someone who elevated her life slip into the background. And when she does, when the pang hits hard enough, that's the exact moment you realize your power isn't in texts, it's in your reality, your life moving forward with or without her. The text that'll make her regret losing you isn't a begging message. It isn't a poetic declaration of feelings. It's a simple, powerful silence wrapped in action. A life so full, a presence so magnetic, that even in her strongest moments of denial, she can't ignore the void you've left. Every man who wants to create regret must master one truth. Absence is more compelling than presence. Let her wonder, let her chase her own curiosity, let her feel the subtle ache of loss. The universe has a cruel but effective rule. Desire is born in absence, not attention. By now, you might feel uneasy, maybe even skeptical. That's perfect. Discomfort is the first whisper of change. If you've been texting too much, chasing too hard, revealing too much, this section alone should shake the foundation of your habits. Because a man who makes her regret losing him doesn't react to her whims, he dictates the emotional tempo. And right now, in this moment, you're learning how to reclaim it. Ask yourself this: when she thinks of you, will she smile at the memory, or will she feel a hollow ache that she can't shake? The answer lies in how you manage the most powerful weapon in any relationship: your presence or your absence. She doesn't realize it yet, but her mind is already running tests, small subconscious experiments to measure your absence. You see, women are wired to notice patterns, emotional availability, and subtle cues. The man who makes her regret losing him is not loud, not desperate, not predictable. He is precise, deliberate, and unapologetically detached when necessary. That detachment isn't cruelty, it's strategy rooted in psychology. And if you grasp this, you step into a power zone most men never even recognize. Think about every interaction you've had with her. Which ones made her pause, lean in, or hold back a smile she didn't want to share? Those moments weren't accidents. They were glimpses of your energy, your unspoken dominance, your authentic self that refused to bend for approval. Women remember energy more than words. They internalize how a man makes them feel, not what he says. And when that energy disappears, when it's no longer accessible, the mind panics. That panic is fertile ground for regret. Let's dissect the subtle triggers. First, the unpredictability of response. A man who always responds immediately teaches a woman that he's disposable, always there at her convenience. But delay, a careful absence, cultivates tension, an emotional craving she cannot satisfy. She will find herself checking her phone repeatedly, rationalizing why you haven't responded, constructing excuses, replaying past moments. That's the power of scarcity, not scarcity of love, but scarcity of access. Second, visible progression. You don't need to announce your achievements, your growth, or your successes. They should be visible in how you carry yourself, how you live your life without her approval. A woman feels regret when she realizes she is no longer part of a man's upward trajectory. It's not jealousy, it's awareness of a reality where she's missing out. And the beautiful, brutal part? She cannot force herself to step into it unless you allow that space. This is why men who chase, who overshare, destroy the possibility of regret. They make themselves replaceable, ordinary, and optional. Third, emotional neutrality. She will try to bait reactions, to provoke jealousy, or to draw you back into a familiar orbit. A man who ignites regret remains calm. He does not react to tests or games. He embodies emotional sovereignty. The more she tests, the more she notices the lack of response, and the emptier her attempts feel. Every provocation that fails strengthens her subconscious acknowledgement. She lost something rare. Now, the most underappreciated tool is subtle communication, or non-communication. Texts, calls, even social media posts are not just messages. They are emotional signals. A single, carefully crafted text can ignite a wildfire of introspection, but the absence of texts is even more potent. She fills the gaps herself with imagination, nostalgia, and the raw understanding that she cannot replicate what she let go. She will analyze your previous words and gestures with microscopic attention, hunting for meaning, hunting for the man she cannot reach. Here's a truth that crushes most men's illusions. Regret is amplified not by confrontation, but by contrast. Let her see, even indirectly, that life continues without her consent, that you are thriving, laughing, moving forward. Contrast her life with yours. Let her feel what she chose to lose. And yet, never gloat, never taunt, never advertise your value. Let her discovery be organic. The mind works faster than pride, and regret born internally is permanent. And let's talk about one more critical factor: timing. Instant withdrawal is not enough. Disappear too soon, and she may not feel the absence. Disappear too late, and you may appear reactive. Mastery comes in measured detachment. The art of creating absence without panic, visibility without intrusion, and energy without desperation. Every man who fails here miscalculates timing. They respond too soon, they chase, they give explanations, they offer reassurance. But the man who creates irreversible regret knows that patience and observation are stronger than words. By now, she is quietly evaluating herself. She questions why she let you slip, why she tolerated your availability as a given. This is the hidden psychology at work. Humans fear permanent loss far more than temporary absence. She doesn't consciously want you back yet. Her ego fights it. But her mind has begun constructing scenarios where you are unattainable. And in those silent, uncomfortable imaginings, the seed of regret takes root. Ask yourself, are you the man who responds, chases, and explains? Or are you the man who embodies absence, transformation, and unshakable self-worth? The answer determines whether she merely remembers you or whether she lives with the quiet, gnawing regret that she let someone extraordinary slip away. Your mission is simple, yet terrifyingly effective. Be absent in a way that makes her presence in your life optional, but make your life so magnetic that she wishes she were still included. Her regret will not be instant, but when it arrives, it will be irreversible. She doesn't just miss you, she's dissecting you in her mind. Every laugh, every subtle glance, every confident silence is being replayed, magnified, and analyzed. Women have an uncanny way of remembering the energy you projected more than the words you spoke. That's why a text meant to beg, explain, or clarify will never make her regret losing you. The trigger isn't in your words, it's in what they don't say. What she truly feels is the absence of your presence, the quiet power of a man who cannot be contained. Now, here's the brutal truth. Most men destroy regret before it even begins. They overshare, they chase, they offer apologies for things they shouldn't. Every time you react impulsively, every time you seek validation through her attention, you are teaching her that she can control your value. And the instant she believes that, regret disappears. She remembers you perhaps, but she doesn't feel the ache of loss. The man who ignites deep regret doesn't answer to her emotions. He moves according to his own life, and her thoughts struggle to catch up. Let's break down the anatomy of regret. First, the mind associates absence with scarcity. When she realizes she cannot have you whenever she wants, she begins to replay all moments she underestimated. That laugh you shared becomes a memory she craves. That quiet confidence she dismissed becomes a standard she cannot match. The absence forces introspection, and human psychology craves completion. Her subconscious insists on resolving the what-if that your absence created. Second, subtle reminders matter more than obvious gestures. You don't need to flaunt success or provoke jealousy. You simply need to live fully. Let her notice the way you smile at life, the effortless way you interact with others, the way you carry yourself. These are not manipulations. They are reflections of truth. A man who truly makes her regret losing him isn't pretending. He's evolving, and that evolution leaves her wondering why she isn't part of it. She doesn't just think she made a mistake, she feels it in her chest, where logic cannot touch it. Third, the invisible power of selective communication. A single, well-timed message can cut deeper than hours of constant texting. But most men misuse it. They flood inboxes, clarify intentions, and justify emotions. Don't. The absence itself is your strongest text. Let her imagination fill the silence with all the things she took for granted. The laughter, the intimacy, the moment she brushed off. Silence becomes a canvas, and she paints it with regret herself. This is the art no man has been taught, creating emotion without saying a word. Now understand this, women do not feel regret like men do. It isn't immediate anger or irritation. It's a slow, creeping awareness. It begins in tiny pangs, sudden memories, fleeting nostalgia. She might scroll past an old photo or hear a song and pause. That pause is the emotional landmine you've laid by living your life fully. Every pang is an acknowledgement of what she chose to discard. And if you resist the urge to chase, explain, or plead, those pangs grow into something heavier, something she cannot ignore. The next key factor is contrast. She will see glimpses of you thriving without her, perhaps through mutual friends, social media, or simply in the way your absence resonates. Contrast is more potent than confrontation. Show her indirectly that your life continues in ways she cannot match. She cannot manufacture what she has lost, and that gap, the intangible sense of missing someone irreplaceable, creates regret that words cannot undo. It is psychological leverage, subtle but unbreakable. And here is where men fail the most. Impatience. Regret takes time. It cannot be forced. The urge to chase, to demand attention, to remind her of your value undermines the very effect you are cultivating. Be patient. Let her mind wander. Let her reflect. Let her imagine the life she could have had with you. That's when she truly begins to regret. Not when you explain yourself, not when you chase, but when she confronts the truth silently. She lost a man who cannot be replaced. Finally, remember, regret is born from a combination of absence, contrast, and self-mastery. Your life must be compelling enough that she cannot ignore it, your detachment must be balanced enough that she notices it, and your presence, when offered sparingly, must feel invaluable. Regret isn't about tricking her, it's about embodying a version of yourself so magnetic, so independent, so unapologetically powerful that she cannot help but feel the void left by her choice. Ask yourself this: is your life moving forward in ways that make her question every decision she made about you? If the answer is no, start changing it today. Because the man who truly makes her regret losing him doesn't need validation from texts, calls, or explanations. He lives in a way that speaks louder than any message ever could. Let's be brutally honest. Most men never grasp the simplest truth about regret. It is never forced, never rushed, and never begged for. It is cultivated silently, like a storm building beneath calm waters. And you, if you want her to truly regret losing you, must understand the depth of this. It's not in chasing, not in explaining, not in making your case. It's in being a man she cannot predict, cannot control, and ultimately cannot replace. Imagine this. She's going about her day, scrolling her phone, sipping her coffee, laughing with friends, and suddenly a thought pierces through her routine. He's not here. He's not mine. That tiny mental stab, that is the seed of regret. But here's the critical factor. The man who plants it does so without appearing calculated. He doesn't telegraph strategy. He doesn't obsess over timing. He simply exists in a reality she cannot step into, a life she no longer shapes. Your absence becomes the mirror in which she confronts her choices. Now, the most overlooked weapon is emotional neutrality. When she tries to provoke, to bait, to see if she still has influence over your feelings, do not bite. Men often mistake this for coldness or indifference, but it is mastery. Emotional sovereignty is magnetic because it forces her mind to work. She cannot manipulate, tease, or guilt a man who moves according to his own life. Every failed attempt increases her subconscious panic, the subtle recognition that she has lost someone uncontainable. Contrast is your next ally. She will notice glimpses of your life, your social interactions, your laughter, your growth. Contrast between her world and yours is the amplifier of regret. You don't have to announce success or flaunt achievements. It's enough that your life is magnetic without her involvement. When she sees your trajectory, the thing she's no longer part of, her mind experiences a cognitive dissonance. She rationalizes she is okay, but every comparison fuels a gnawing ache. That ache, left unchecked, grows into regret that cannot be undone. And let's talk about timing, the subtle rhythm of presence and absence. Disappear too soon, and she may shrug, thinking you're simply unavailable. Disappear too late, and you risk appearing reactive, desperate, or emotionally dependent. Mastery comes in measured detachment. Your appearances, your responses, your interactions must feel intentional but effortless. This isn't about manipulation. It's about aligning your life with your value, so your absence is not emptiness, but a compelling signal of your irreplaceability. Another layer most men overlook is indirect triggers. Regret doesn't need confrontation or explanation. It thrives on reminders, memories, and subtle hints. A single shared photo, a fleeting comment, a moment of connection remembered, these are psychological sparks. And if you have mastered the art of detachment, she will fill in the gaps herself. Her imagination becomes the most powerful amplifier of her regret, constructing scenarios you never need to create consciously. Now, the hardest part for men is restraint. There will be moments when she tests, when she reaches out, when her ego demands your attention. The natural instinct is to respond, explain, chase, but restraint is your greatest ally. Every moment you resist the pull, every urge you suppress, every reaction you deny strengthens the emotional impact of your absence. She begins to realize that you cannot be possessed, that you cannot be summoned, that your value exists independently of her recognition. Finally, understand this. Regret is not about punishing her. It's about revealing your value in a way that she cannot ignore. It is the byproduct of self-mastery, independence, and deliberate absence. It's about living a life so magnetic that she questions every choice she made that led to losing you. It's about being a man who cannot be replicated, who cannot be contained, who cannot be controlled. That is the essence of power, the kind that lingers in the mind long after your presence is gone. Ask yourself this: when she thinks of you, does she feel curiosity, longing, or indifference? If it's not the first two, your absence hasn't yet spoken loud enough. Your life, your energy, your emotional sovereignty, these are the silent texts she cannot ignore. And when she finally feels the weight of losing you, that is the moment your influence becomes irreversible. Now it's time to understand the final, undeniable truth. The text, the message, the gesture that triggers her deepest regret isn't clever. It isn't poetic. It isn't begging for attention. It's simple, precise, and rooted in your presence, or rather, your absence. The most powerful thing you can do is convey one reality. You are living fully without her, and her loss cannot be undone. That truth hits harder than any words, and it lingers longer than any conversation. She's already imagining what life could have been with you, the laughter, the intimacy, the unspoken connection. And here's the key. Your message is not words. It's the culmination of everything you've built. Your confidence, your independence, your unshakable emotional sovereignty. That's what makes her mind race at 2 a.m. That's what she scrolls through old photos for. That's what makes her question every decision she made to let you slip away. She doesn't need explanations. She needs the reality of your magnetism to strike her subconscious. Every small action you take or don't take adds to the story she tells herself. A message that she interprets as a boundary, a simple text confirming you exist on your terms, a post showing growth without her validation. These are more potent than paragraphs of longing or apology. Your restraint, your composure, your life moving forward is the ultimate signal that she cannot manipulate, control, or reclaim you. She will replay your laughter, your energy, your confidence, and ask herself why she thought she could let it go. Understand this: regret thrives on contrast. It's not about proving a point, winning a fight, or earning forgiveness. It's about showing her that her absence does not diminish your value. In fact, it amplifies it. Every successful man who understands female psychology knows this. When a woman senses the power of what she has lost, she experiences a raw, undeniable tension in her heart and mind. That tension is the seed of longing, the precursor to regret, the invisible pull you never have to force. And let's be honest, many men panic at this stage. They send desperate texts, they ask for explanations, they try to fix her regret. That destroys everything. Real regret is passive, almost cruel in its elegance. She has to arrive at it herself. You cannot manufacture it, only allow it by mastering absence, contrast, and emotional sovereignty. Every interaction, every unspoken word, every small glimpse of your life without her strengthens the gravity of your presence in her memory. Now here's the ultimate psychological insight. A single, perfectly timed message can ignite everything, but only if it is simple, measured, and anchored in your reality. You don't need to say, "I miss you," or "I'm better off without you." You don't need to justify, explain, or plead. A text that hints at your thriving life, your calm independence, your magnetic energy is enough. She will read between the lines. She will imagine. She will feel. And that feeling, uneasy, sharp, undeniable, is the regret you've been cultivating silently all along. Remember, the most powerful man is not the one who chases, texts endlessly, or waits for her acknowledgement. It's the one who lives fully, who grows relentlessly, who communicates subtly and sparingly, and whose absence creates a void that she cannot fill. Regret is not about punishment, it's about revelation. She sees the man she lost, realizes she cannot replace him, and feels a tension in her heart that no explanation, apology, or interaction can erase. So here's your challenge, your personal test. Consider your life right now. Are you fully magnetic, fully independent, fully unapologetic about your growth? Or are you reacting to her presence, her messages, her attention? The answer is the difference between being remembered fondly and being regretted. The man who is remembered is ordinary. The man who is regretted is unforgettable. Engage with us. What single action could you take today to create a void she cannot ignore? Comment your answer below. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing insights, share it with a friend who needs this tonight.